Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. We got a lot of numbers today, a lot of them. This is an article from today, which is the 3rd of June, 2022. It comes from an Ukrainian media outlet. It's called the New Voice of Ukraine. And it's going to use numbers of casualties, damages, bridges destroyed, um, refugees left the country, prisoners, all those numbers will be in this article. Please keep in mind, and I know you will, that this comes from the Ukrainian side. So certain destructions, I'm assuming they're maybe exaggerated. Some losses from maybe Ukraine side would be minimized, from Russian side would be maximized. So let's go. This is the title of this article. 100 days of full-scale Russian invasion in numbers. And here we go, get ready. According to the Office of the President of Ukraine and the Kiev School of Economics, Ukraine has sustained over $600 billion in damage from the invasion. That's a hint for the Western countries. They have to cough up the money. All right, cough up, boom. So $600 billion in damage from the invasion, including $105 billion in infrastructure damage. Ready, Halliburton? Oh, there's no oil. My bad. Okay. The country's economy has contracted by 35%. Over 200 factories have been destroyed. Tens of thousands of civilians and soldiers have been killed over the course of this brutal phase of the war. Mariupol, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, Severodonetsk, and Lysychansk are among the Ukrainian cities that have sustained the most ruination in these 100 days. Here are some figures that outline the scope of Ukrainian losses in the war. Get ready. Over 44 million meters squared of housing. Now a meter is 3 feet and a little bit, so you know, or almost a yard, okay? For the United States friends who might not be familiar with this. 6,300 kilometers of railways. So that would be about 5,000 miles. 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. 41 railway bridges, 634 healthcare facilities. 634 healthcare facilities. I don't think they have that in total, but not bad. Who knows? I mean, let's put 100 in one city. They were all right, and they were at 6 cities, but they know best. 1,122 educational facilities, 621 kindergartens, 19 oil depots, and 19 malls. Now, for my American friends, those malls, don't expect them to be like the ones that you see in the United States, like huge malls. I would like to see the definition of a mall. I'm not trying to minimize it, but I'm just saying I come from a country where is kind of the same economic, even better economically than Ukraine. And I know in the capital city of Bucharest, they have over there, I went and I visited the mall, and that mall, it was maybe fourth, third of a mall here, regular mall here. Let's put it this way. So if you want to take that as a mall, you got a shopping center here in the United States, outside shopping center, they could consider it a mall. I'm guessing, I don't know, but I don't believe the entire Ukraine has 19 malls. I mean, I live in a pretty big area with some been to many cities in the United States, and let's say get Detroit, for instance, which is okay, Detroit, but not Detroit, the city, the metropolitan Detroit. I don't know if it has 10 malls, 5 more, 7 malls, and that's Detroit. You take Ukraine, but nevertheless, let's go with it. These stats only partially reflect millions of ruined Ukrainian lives. That's true. Family members have been killed, forced to flee abroad, ended up under occupation and so on. So it says that Russia captured 3,600 settlements, although 1,000 of them have been since then liberated. I don't believe that, just from the very beginning. All right. These are the most recent numbers provided by President Volodymyr Zelensky on June 2nd. He said that Russian invasion have captured 3,620 settlements in Ukraine. The Ukrainian armed forces have since liberated 1,017 of them. Okay, let's say what these guys are saying, okay? The only regional capital Russia managed to seize is Kherson. With its 450,000 residents, Mariupol remains the largest Ukrainian city to have fallen. Russian troops control about 20% of Ukraine's territory. According to Zelensky, Russia holds almost 125,000 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory, or 20% of the country. To put it into perspective, Russia-occupied area of Ukraine is as large as Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg combined 76,600 square kilometers. Slovakia and Czech Republic 127,900 square kilometers. Nearly the whole of Greece 131,900 square kilometers. 35% of Germany, half of the UK, larger than the whole of Bulgaria, Iceland, Hungary, Portugal, Serbia, Austria, and numerous other European countries. Twice as much of Ukrainian land, which is 300,000 square kilometers, have been rendered dangerous by landmines and unexploded ordnance. All right. According to the government, 7 Ukrainian regions have areas under Russian occupation or active battlefields. And I'm going to cite them. Dnipropetrovsk, 6 districts. Donetsk, 66 districts. Zaporozhye, 61 districts. Luhansk, 37 districts. Mykolaiv, 22 districts. Kharkiv, 5 districts. Kherson, 49 districts. Nearly 31,000 Russian troops have been killed in action. And roughly 10,000 soldiers per month. Military experts, including former Ukrainian defense minister, estimate that non-lethal casualties are 2 or 3 times as large. This put total Russian casualties at 60,000 troops minimum. As I said, this comes from Ukraine side. Pre-war estimates suggested that Moscow has assembled an invasion force of 150,000 troops around Ukrainian borders, meaning that Russia has since 20% of it killed and 40% wounded. 31,000 KIA over 100 days of invasion is a colossal casualty level compared to other military conflicts. They're going to make a comparison. Twice as much as the Soviet losses in 10 years in the Afghan War, 1979-1989. That conflict saw Moscow lose 15,000 troops killed and 54,000 wounded. The number is more than the Russia's official losses in 2 Chechen wars. During the first Chechen campaign, 1994-1996, the Kremlin lost 6,000 troops and missing, according to the Committee of Soldiers, blah, 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 the figure is closer to 14,000. The second campaign active phase in 1999 and 2000 cost Moscow 7,400 in troop fatalities. The United States lost more than 6,900 troops in 20 years of war, of invasion, in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Iraq War, 2003-2011, cost Washington 4,500 U.S. soldiers. The war in Afghanistan, 2001-2021, lost 2,400 troops. Over 50% of total U.S. losses in Vietnam War, 1965-1973. Over 8 years, the United States lost 58,281 soldiers in Vietnam. This means that in 100 days of the war in Ukraine, Russian losses amount to 53% of U.S.'s losses in Vietnam. 210 Russian warplanes and 175 helicopters have been lost in Ukraine. As of June 2nd, Ukrainian General Staff figures suggest Russia has lost 56% of the warplanes committed to the invasion of Ukraine, 210 out of 375, and 73% of the helicopters, 175 out of 240. Additionally, 175 downed Russian helicopters represent greater losses than Moscow sustained in its 4 previous wars, 83 helicopters. Wow. The first Chechen War, 21 helicopters. The second Chechen War, 36 helicopters. The invasion of Georgia, 3 helicopters. The Syrian campaign, 23 helicopters. 210 downed Russian warplanes is more than the entire air force of some countries. Kazakhstan, 120. Poland, 110 and 12. Belarus, 105. Other Russian military equipment losses are as follows. Tanks, 1,363, 80% of the initial invasion force of 1,700. IFVs and IMVs, 3,354, that's 78% of the initial invasion force of 4,300. Artillery systems, 661, that is 28% of the initial invasion force of 2,300. MLRS, 207. Anti-aircraft defense system, 95. UAVs, 521. Cruise missiles, 120. Naval vessels, 13. Supply and fuel trucks, 2,325. Specialized military equipment, 51. Every day Ukraine loses 60 to 100 soldiers. All right. On the subject of Ukrainian losses on the battlefields, Zelensky had the following to say during an interview with Newsmax on June 1st. The situation is dire. 60 to 100 of our soldiers are killed and 500 are wounded every day. Wow. Ukraine is not disclosing the total number of its casualties in this phase of the war. In mid-April, Zelensky said that 2,500 to 3,000 Ukrainian troops had been killed. All right. At the time, Russian losses were estimated at around 19,000 to 20,000. In the previous 8 years of war in Donbass, 4,100 Ukrainian soldiers were killed prior to February 24 invasion, according to UN data. 1.4 million Ukrainians have been deported to Russia. It says that they were forcibly deported to Russia. In preliminary figures, the UN has verified reports of 4,100 civilian deaths. At least 4,113 civilians have been killed and 4,916 wounded since Russia launched its full-scale invasion. The Office of United Nations High Commissioner of Human Rights said on May 31st. So 4,000 were killed, 5,000 were wounded. The report stresses that the actual casualty figure are much higher. UN reporting is based on data that has already been verified. All right. According to Ukraine, 1,288 bodies of killed civilians have been found across Kyiv Oblast alone. Had the regional policy, blah, blah, blah. That's not important. Civilian casualties in Mariupol could range from 22,000 to 50,000, according to Ukraine's own estimates. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Actual civilian casualties in Mariupol could be much higher. On June 1st, The Guardian reported, according to an unnamed Mariupol funeral service professional, civilian deaths in the city are approaching 50,000. Over 5 million Ukrainians have fled the country. Nearly 12 million Ukrainians have been internally displaced, with 5 million more leaving the country. That's a lot of people, unbelievable. Since February 24th, 6.8 million Ukrainians have left the country and 2.2 million came back, as per UN data. These are the numbers. These are the numbers in what? In 14 minutes and 48 seconds. I love numbers, but as I said, this might be exaggerated and minimized in the Ukrainian losses part, but it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm glad they provided these numbers. We can verify them after about 5 years. From here, we're going to look back and we're going to look at this video and say, okay, they said this. Okay, they said this, they say this, and they say this. We'll verify it as we can, since I'm pretty sure these articles will go away in time. We're not going to hear them about them. All right. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See ya.